Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a lifestyle medicine doctor. What does that mean? You're going to learn so much from her journey. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
I think it is very fascinating that we as a planet know more about how the human body works than ever before in history, and yet as a planet we're getting sicker and sicker. We're sleep deprived, we're overcaffeinating, we're probably drinking too much, we're not exercising, and we're eating horrible food. To talk about that today, Dr. Phyllis Gee with Willowbend Health and Wellness. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me, Jeff.
Yeah, did I summarize that correctly?
You certainly did. You must have read my list off of my website.
Well, I'm passionate about your practice because functional medicine. Why don't we first explain that?
Yeah, so functional medicine is really about optimizing what are at the root cause of what contributes to most health problems. And so when we talk about function, we're talking about how does the body operate normally, and what is it that we can do to optimize that or help the body repair it, because the body has an amazing ability to really heal itself. And
at one point, you knew all this about medicine, but you too were getting sick.
I was.
Tell us that story.
Certainly, over 20 years ago, I started having declining health and really didn't think anything of it until I actually went through menopause. And at that time, it started accelerating. I started getting sicker and sicker quicker. And while my lab work all looked normal and my exams were all normal and the doctors kept reassuring me, you're fine, but they kept giving me more antibiotics for more sinus infections and more medication because my allergies weren't being controlled. And I just felt like I was on this downhill spiral. And I had been fortunate enough to connect with the integrative health community here in Dallas and had relationship with a number of chiropractors and integrative pharmacists. And one of the pharmacists actually said, you know, I think you should try doing this detoxification program. It might really help you. And I had such an amazing result from that one, 3-week effort. I asked her as soon as I got finished, when can I do this again?
Wow.
Yeah, that's how powerful the body is. If you just get out of the way and start helping it, it can heal itself in really, a very rapid pace. So that's really what I teach people now. And that's what lifestyle medicine is about.
Yeah, and I applaud you because I think so many doctors are so anxious to just pull out a prescription pad and write a prescription, but often they're giving their patient a cocktail of prescriptions that they don't even know how they interact.
This is true, and unfortunately it's because of how we're trained in conventional medicine. We're trained to really be sick doctors. So we provide awesome sick care. So we look at lab work with the view of diagnosing disease. And, yes, reassuring patients that, things are looking really good because your levels are optimized. But I think very often there are some subtle changes that we are trained to look for in conventional medicine.
Well, you have a beautiful practice and a beautiful website. We're going to scroll down the website, and as we look at this, I want you to kind of talk about some of the areas, because you treat everything from OBGYN to wellness. Talk about some of the practice areas.
Yeah, so my focus really now is about helping people to identify the areas in their life that are contributing to their current health status. And certainly if they're in good health, we talk about how to continue that well into later life. But if they're having health challenges, which is what is happening for most people, then we talk about how to identify those, but we give them tools to help address them. And that's something that I think conventional medicine doesn't always prepare patients
And in many cases, you're giving people their lives back. I'm going to roll a clip here in a second, but I want you to set this up. So this is a patient of yours named Lauren. Tell us this story.
So Lauren is a longtime patient, and she had so much tenacity, and she was so motivated, which is, I think, a really important part of being successful in this. I think sometimes people want quick fixes, and there really isn't a quick fix. Sometimes the body heals faster than others, but she wanted to put in the time and the effort, and she was able to lose nearly 100 pounds.
That's amazing.
In less than a year. But along with that came a healthier gut and better mood, and she'll share some of it with you, I think, on the clip. But we're just so proud of her and her story, and she's still inspirational.
Outstanding. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
Willowbend Health and Wellness has been a significant game changer in my life over the last really 10 years. I've struggled with my weight most of my life. Before I got married and before I had a child, losing weight or keeping my weight under control was a lot easier for me. Dr. G always kept a close eye and really helped me to maintain a healthy weight so that some of the underlying possible health conditions wouldn't arise that maybe were genetically in my family. So after having a child, my weight really got out of control. And I've been able to spend the last year working with the Willowbend Health and Wellness Center and with Dr. G. And Dr. G has been an absolute game changer. I struggled with losing weight after my child, and I've lost over 60 pounds in the last year. Been going into her clinic also for, real accountability with measurements and helping me to find healthy eating patterns, finding things that maybe my body cannot or can no longer tolerate. And she's helped me really take a new approach to how I see health and wellness, and also how I look at taking care, self-care over my body. So for the first time, I feel like I have power over my weight and over my body. I am very, very happy and will continue to be an ongoing patient, because I believe that if we take control of our bodies before problems occur, then we can live a really happy, healthy, and full life. So I'm really thankful.
Wow. What an incredible story.
Yes.
You have to be very
Yes.
proud. I mean, that's obviously just one of countless
Yes.
lives that you've impacted.
Yes, and honestly, I think I really enjoy working with patients who are really motivated, whether it's because they're so sick and they feel like they don't have any other choice, or really they recognize the value of the kind of care that we're trying to offer because they had a similar experience to me. They felt like conventional medicine was really not the solution.
Let's talk a little bit about exercise, and as we do that, we want to put some video up. Exercise could be just starting with a walk around the block, right?
Absolutely. And what we tell people is the first thing is to get active. So before you start exercising, get active. What does that mean? That means not sitting all day long and then going to bed at night. So whether it's getting up and purposefully, taking a walk.
Right.
Every, maybe once an hour. We used to say, go to the water station, water fountain and drink, but nobody does that anymore. But just getting active in as many ways as you can. And then once you're active, you're more flexible, then exercise. And I recommend starting out with aerobic exercise because we know that cardiovascular disease is still the #1 killer.
Right.
And so you want to take care of your heart. The way you do that is by getting an average of 150 minutes of moderate exercise weekly. You can do that in any way that is, suits your lifestyle.
Right.
It's about getting your heart rate up and keeping it there so that you're conditioning the cardiovascular system. So,
and there are countless ways to accomplish the same thing. So some people say, well, I hate jogging. Well, you don't have to jog.
You don't have to
maybe
jog.
riding a bike. I mean, there's
Absolutely.
Swimming. Yeah.
Swimming, biking, water aerobics, any number of ways of just getting movement continuously and getting that heart rate up and keeping it there.
Okay, let's talk about healthy eating, because they always say that
Yes.
bodies are made in the kitchen, not in the gym. What does healthy eating mean to you?
So number one on my list of 10 steps to optimal health is actually eat real food to nourish your body. And it's really more about quality than quantity. Because you take care of the quality will take care of itself. And so what that means is you want to be able to recognize what it is. And it shouldn't necessarily come out of a bag or a box or a can. God created everything that we need. We just need to look for it. And sourcing it is important. So I tell people EWG, Environmental Working Group, is a good place to start for more information about what are the things we should really try to eat organic versus not having to worry about, so that we can balance out the cost, because you don't have to eat everything organic. There are things called the Clean 15. So if you go to ewg.org, you can see the lists that they rate every year of the herbicides and pesticides in our produce.
Sure.
So,
and is it still true that the perimeter of the grocery store is where you want to spend most of your time?
absolutely, no question. So I think start there, and then, once the cart is full, then you can treat yourself to some special items that are near and dear to you.
And once you get your body working again, the furnace heated up, you can have a cheat meal every once in a while and burn it off.
I don't even call them cheats anymore. I tell people I am not a big proponent of not doing anything the rest of your life. I think that's not real world, and I think that's where people get discouraged. So I tell people, it's the 80-20 rule. It's like anything else. 80% of the time you want to eat healthy and clean and provide your body all that it needs. And then 20% of the time you can enjoy yourself, but you can still enjoy yourself with healthier options, but then splurge, enjoy yourself.
Let's talk about the importance of a good night's sleep.
Yes, really important. So I tell people now, sleep and stress management are number 1 and 2 for most people nowadays, just because of how we live. And sleep is still something that I struggle with myself because I'm so busy, and getting my head on that pillow is really important. But sleep really is how we enhance our immune function as well as our memory, because our brain can't really function on cleaning house when we're asking it to do all these things all day long. So at night is when our lymphatics, which is the lymphatic system, kind of the trash disposal system for the brain, that's when it operates. And so if you're not getting into deep restful sleep for a significant period of time, ideally 7 to 8 hours, then you're just cluttering up the brain and piling more junk on top of it.
All right, let's talk about the importance of water.
Water, really important. So I tell people, I didn't even know drinking water was a thing. Growing up, nobody drank water in our house. But it is so important. In fact, for a lot of people, a lot of their health problems stem from the fact that they are basically dehydrated. And so I tell people, ideally, 64 ounces plus or minus, but we tell people, the more weight you're carrying around, the more water you should drink. So half of your body weight in ounces a day is just kind of a general rule.
Wow. So replace some of those Cokes with water, and that's a good start.
Let's talk about that, because what people don't realize is when you drink caffeine, that actually increases the need for more water, okay? Because it kind of tends to make you more dehydrated because you eliminate more of the water quicker than you normally would, so.
Outstanding. Okay, we've only got a couple of minutes left. Final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
So what I'd like to leave people with is the importance of understanding that our body has an amazing ability to heal. And we have a lot of practitioners now that are really focused on longevity. And that's because they recognize that we have the ability to live to potentially 120 and beyond. We really do, because our body is constantly making new cells, new organs. And so what we want to do is we want to protect what we have so that our body's not having to work hard at doing that. And also provide it what it needs. So eating healthy is important to get nutrients. We may need to supplement. And when I say supplement wisely, do you need to have a basket full of supplements? Not necessarily. I think that's part of one of the things that people appreciate about what I do is I try to be respectful of of people's ability to, only do so much. We talked about movement. We talked about one of the things I like to talk about is practicing pleasure, because I really do think laughter is the best medicine.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, so we really want to, kind of protect ourselves. Detoxification, really passionate about that, because that is the one step that really made a true difference in my health trajectory of healing, starting with that. So, and then community, staying connected to family and friends is really important. And then mind-body practices, really getting in touch with who you are and what your needs are. And you want to promote self-care and relaxation. So those are some of the other factors I think
Outstanding.
are important.
Dr. Gee, I could listen to you all day. You're very talented, and thank you for the difference you're making on this planet. We're going to end with the website, which is Willowbend Health and Wellness.com. The great Dr. Phyllis Gee. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.